Hi everybody, welcome back to School of Scarlet. Today I want to talk about leaving spirituality. So this has been something on my heart, and I've had some insights, some changes in my life that I want to share with you here today. So grab yourself something to drink and sit back, and let's go ahead and have a little bit of a chat. This is one of my favorite mugs if y'all have ever seen it. Sometimes I bring it onto some of my videos. I have a fat cat like this named Sasha, and so I love this little mug. I also have one with a little dog because I have a dog as well. But anyhow, I'm actually waiting on someone to arrive. We have been working on the floors in my home, and I've been helping to do the subfloors, and so we've been working really hard on replacing the flooring in our home. But now it's time for the pretty flooring to come on, the flooring that goes above the subfloor, and we've hired someone to do that. So I'm waiting for that person to get here. They probably should have already been here, so I hope we don't get interrupted. But anyhow, I'm waiting on that. And so I was out here playing with my cows in the back, and I'll probably go back to that after this video if the person hasn't shown up yet. But anyhow, I want to talk about leaving spirituality. So some different things have happened in my life that have really kind of brought this a little bit more to the forefront. And I want to talk about how at some point there is just no spirituality. Life itself is spirituality. So when it came to my floors, for example, I worked really hard on, replacing the subfloors. I worked with my husband, and we were working really hard to do all of this work for like a whole week. We've been working on this stuff, and we've been also moving furniture around and everything to be able to get to the bottom level of our home. Well, all of that hard work is essentially done, and so we can really sit back and relax now. And there's still work to be done. There's still things that are happening. For example, we're about to get the top flooring, the pretty floor, put on our floors, but we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be doing that aspect of it. So it's kind of bringing forth today's message that you may have been in this kind of cycle of really doing, seeking, trying different things, thinking that you're moving up in a way when it comes to spirituality, gaining more knowledge, watching more videos, reading more books, taking courses even, and feeling like you're moving up in spirituality. But at some point, that's going to actually stop for you. And it's going to be like there is nothing left to learn. There is nothing left to do even. And you realize that spirituality, that sacred place, was here all along. It was here in the ordinary life. It was here in the mundane life. It was here in your ups and your downs. All of it was right here and now. And you really didn't have to go searching for it. But that's one place that you'll eventually get to in your journey. What seems like a journey, but really isn't a journey at all. You'll begin to mature in your spirituality and see that spirituality is not linear. It's not you start at one place and you end somewhere. It's actually a circle. And so you begin to recognize that aspect of spirituality. And so there is nowhere to get. There is nowhere to go. It's just living life. So that's kind of like the flooring. I worked so hard doing so many things, and it wasn't for nothing. I mean, everything that you do is for something. You gain insights, you have something, but it's not like you're obtaining anything necessarily. So it wasn't for nothing, but at some point you're done. You can sit back, you can relax, you can go play with your animals like I'm about to do. You can do the things that you want to do freely and feel, good in that, and experience the wonder, the beauty, all of that stuff, even the supernatural in the ordinary mundane life that we oftentimes take for granted. So at some point you're going to see that you're going to kind of leave those spiritual practices behind, all the meditation, all of the journaling, all of this doing, and you're going to live life. And in that living, you're going to have everything that you need happening for you. So the other thing that happened recently is that I recently we finished up our course. I was putting on a course this last couple of weeks called the Unconditional and Unbothered Course. When I first started this channel, I started it because I experienced a non-dual realization, and I wanted to share that experience from a truthful place. I had watched some other speakers and it was very confusing. It was very ungrounded, and I wanted to share my grounded kind of experience that was a bit different than some of the other speakers. Over time, I created a course called the Unconditional Course, which was based on what I experienced in non-duality, kind of this unconditional love that is already here and now. And it's not a romantic love. It's not a love that you would necessarily recognize, but it's a love that has always been here. And that's truly the love of God. But anyhow, I created this course called the Unconditional Course. It was my first course that I ever created. And I put it on a couple of times, and it was a very successful course. And over time, I also created some other courses. As you know, the title of my YouTube channel is School of Scarlet. So I had courses on feminine energy, I had courses on intuition, on creators, on many different things. And so all of those courses were a lot of fun to put on. They had a lot of great information. But as I just finished my course, the Unconditional and Unbothered Course, I kind of went full circle. I recognized that everything that we need as far as learning and all of these things is already encompassed in unconditional love. So there's no need to go into so many other things. Of course, if you are led to and you want to, do that for yourself. I went through many things as well. And so do where your heart makes you happy. But for me now, I see that the bottom line is unconditional love. So for now on, the School of Scarlet is going to mainly be putting on the Unconditional Course, which is the basis of everything. And so when we move forward here at School of Scarlet, I see some changes happening as I'm leaving spirituality. It's not going to be so much about learning so many different things, but rather recognizing spirituality in the ordinary, in the everyday life that we have. And I've tried to tie that in oftentimes through my intuitive messages that happen based on my daily life. I am a simple person living in rural Texas, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and yet things happen all of the time. I may not have a plan, but yet things are happening always. And so I want to kind of share that journey and share that kind of, not even a journey, but share that experience here with you. So as I'm talking about the Unconditional Course, it's almost funny that I ended with the Unconditional and Unbothered, because at some point you're going to be truly unbothered as well. It doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. You have a peace inside of you that surpasses all understanding. No one can really say or do anything to shake that when you have come through so many different things. You don't need to seek anybody out, let's say a guru or a teacher. You don't need to find practices like some sort of meditation, or you don't need to find objects or idols like crystals or statues or any of that stuff, or even travel the world to see these things. You're content now in this moment, and you have a direct point to God. And so for me, that's Jesus. For you, it may be something else, but Jesus is God. And so through that point, I don't have to go through any other medium to reach God, to feel unconditional love. It's already here and now at my direct point of access. So you're never separate from God. No matter what you believe, what you do, just know that God is always with you. And this is already a beautiful heaven on earth journey right here and now. We often think that, there's so much wrong with the world. And yes, we can point this out and that out and all of these things, but essentially everything that is happening perfectly. And that is where you can find peace as well, knowing that even where you see chaos, even where you see what looks like destruction. It's actually happening for a reason, and it's actually happening in a way that it's always to benefit and grow and expand. So you have nothing to fear here. It doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in the past. It doesn't matter, you know, what you believe, what you had believed, you know, if it was right or wrong or any of those things. There is really no right or wrong. It's within you that you find discernment. It's within you that you find, you know, that connection with God that leads you to more and more of who you are. Because you're not just some little, you know, lowly person. You are more than that. And you have a direct connection right here within God. So because of that, you experience so much more. And life is actually truly heaven on earth right here and now. So when we leave spirituality, it's not that we don't believe in spirituality. It's not that we don't believe in God. It's not that we have given up on life. It's that we recognize the divinity running through everything, that we recognize the connection. We recognize that everything was already here and now. It wasn't someplace else to find. So one of the things that's coming to mind is like training wheels on a bicycle. So training wheels on a bicycle, you know, they help us to be able to ride that bike, to balance it. And so in the beginning, some of those training wheels for you might be exploring various religions. It might be journaling. It might be, you know, meditating. It might be some of these things I talked about, like crystals or nature worship, or who knows. There's so many things. But at the end of the day, at some point, those training wheels are going to come off. We don't live with, you know, we don't try to learn a bike and ride with the training wheels for the rest of our lives. After a while, they come off and you're able to balance and ride your bike just fine. And so at some point, you're going to let go of those training wheels and you're going to let go of those things. And it's going to create so much more time, so much more peace, so much more energy in your life, because you're not having to do all of those things to feel this connection. You feel it in just petting your horse. You feel it in just playing in the leaves out here. You feel it in, you know, playing and talking to your child, or, you know, going on a date with your spouse, or it's there at all times. And so that is what I wanted to talk to you about here today. And you'll begin to see that a lot of people are leaving spirituality because it's that time in our consciousness. And many of you started this journey and began what seemed like a linear journey in time, which it really isn't, at a certain point. And so a lot of people right now will be coming out of spirituality. But it's not that they don't recognize God. It's not that they don't have that connection. It's that they've found the direct connection. They found the direct experience, and everything else fell away. So I wanted to kind of talk about that here today and kind of share with you that based on some of the things that were happening, I really felt that this was something that's been on my heart for a while. But I didn't know how to put it into words, and I didn't know how to share it. And so this channel may be changing a little bit because I'll be sharing more of everyday life type things. And a lot of times I share these things because they're things that I went through. They're things that someone might be in now. And so it's something that, you know, I share with you. And I like to share on here. I like to connect with you on here. I like to talk on here. But I also have some other channels. If you're not familiar, I have School of Scarlet Homestead, where I share, you know, recipes, gardening, my animals, my home, so many different things around homesteading. And so if you are interested in that channel, check it out. It's called School of Scarlet Homestead. I also, you know, partner with my husband, and we love cars. So I have another channel where I share all of the various trips and car shows that we attend. And that channel is called Romans 1:16 Garage. And you can find those linked on my channel page at the very bottom. But I will still be here on School of Scarlet This is my base, and this is where I get to talk to you heart to heart. So we'll be having a lot more heart to heart discussions and just talking about ordinary things in ordinary life. So I hope that this message found you well. I hope that it resonated with you in some sort of way. If it did, please leave me a like down below. I would love to know it. If you have any suggestions, or you want to talk about anything, or you want to know anything about me, feel free to comment down in the comment section. I will be coming back here to this channel for our next video and having more heart-to-heart type discussions with you out here in nature, out here, in different places that I, am in. So I'm going to bring you along for that. Thank you again so much for tuning in. I love you all, and I will catch you on our next message.